What's up, everybody? Okay, so here goes the conversation of the day. First, if you are joining our conversation for the first time, our videos are kind of designed to help. It's an open forum, so feel free to jump right in and say whatever you want. We don't really care. And everybody's got an equal voice, and we like hearing from everybody, so that part is really, really cool. Secondly, we're looking forward. We've got our graphic artist in play, and she's definitely doing a great job. And looking forward to our little logos. We got a little guy called Ratchet. He's a skeleton. He's going to be kind of our figurehead. Digging. And anyway, so today's video, I've gotten asked about this probably somewhere around 20 to 25 times in the last 7 days. So I guess we need to do a video on it. I've touched base on this several times, but I figured I would get really explicit about it based on the fact that I probably did leave a couple questions out there. In other words, I didn't get that much in detail, but I've got no problem getting in detail with it because you know what? It is a viable way to do business in the car business, and it is one of the routes that some of us take, and there is a right way, and there, of course, is a wrong way to do it. So what we're going to be talking about is lot financing, owner financing, tote the notes. The best way to get back on your feet is miss a payment. You get the picture what kind of lot I'm talking about. Now, initially, the first thing you're going to think of is a very sketch place, guy smoking a cigarette, and you're trying to, you think of some poor guy with $300 just trying to get a car. And that's how it used to be, and that's okay if you still have that image, but that's not how it is anymore. It's actually a very viable business, and it's very calculated, and you must be very much on top of what you're doing if you're going to be successful at it, because if you are not, they will tear you a new one, and you will be bankrupt very quickly, and you will not be able to sustain yourself. Okay, so I decided to break this down into a couple categories. One, let's talk about a location, because location is a little different for a lot finance operation than, say, a guy that's selling primary cars and he's going to be relying on the internet. The guy who is relying on lot finance, he's got to have some exposure, and he's got to be somewhat in an area that's going to get some foot traffic. Now, you don't necessarily have to go into the worst section of town and put up, an 8-foot fence and say you're lot financing and hope to get rich. Quite the contrary, you're much better off to actually jump in kind of a mid rent district where you have people that are probably middle class, lower middle class, because that's who you're dealing with. That's your prime customer. And working mothers, fathers, that's going to be who you're basically selling cars to. That's who you want to sell cars to. You don't want to sell cars to people that don't have viable income. So we definitely want to jump into that lower to middle class. So the first thing I would tell you as far as location is jump into a place that's got some decent foot traffic, not real high rent district. I would keep my rent somewhere capped around $1,000, $1,500 a month. I wouldn't go much deeper than that, based on the fact that this is an all expense out to get started, more so than any other factor of this business. Okay, so location, I would definitely have a place that I could do my own work on the cars, because you want to have the ability to have the work done right where you're at, and you want to be able to do certain service things like basic things like spark plugs, wheel bearings, services, things like that. Things like this are important to you because all that stuff that you can keep in-house is profitability, and you will find out sooner or later these customers don't care about maintaining their cars. All they care about is going from point A to point B. So as a successful lot person in the lot finance industry, you're going to have to be able to keep their vehicles rolling from A to B. So definitely something garage orientated and semi-secure. It's not going to be a nice, pretty open lot like a brand new Nissan dealer or something like that, where it's nice and open and beautiful. You're going to have to keep your stuff semi-secured because you're going to be dealing with sometimes edgy customers, clientele. So you don't want to be too far out there, but you don't want to be too crazy either. Kind of in the middle. All right, so that'd be my location is how I would do, and that's kind of what I would rent on. Now, the concept I would have to make for inventory this becomes a big one because this is the crutch on whether you live or die. Whatever kind of inventory is your lifeblood or your death, one or the other. So you're sitting around and you got to like figure out what cars are you going to sell for lot financing and what condition do you want available in those vehicles to sell for lot financing, which is cool. I mean, I get it. So here's what you need to do. Before you lot finance a car, that car needs to be pretty much ready to go. Meaning, you need to know for a fact that the timing belt's not at 140,000 miles getting ready to snap. Because guess what? If you're joining a 3-year contract with this guy, you're going to have to count on that car to get you paid. If the car fails, so does your payment program. And that's the crutch of your cash flow. So right off the bat, the inventory is going to be very, very important. So inventory, I'm very concerned mechanically. I'm extremely concerned mechanically. I want to make sure all my fluids are fresh. I want it checked out. I would check them out, but you might have to have a mechanic because you may not be a mechanic yourself. And you want to drive them, ride, and make sure there's no overheating. Make sure you got the right radiator fluid in it. Make sure the right oil's in it, trainee fluid. Your brakes are good. All the things that people will find wrong with the car, you need to take care of ahead of time because as soon as they drive the car for 2 days, they're going to find a reason not to pay you. So you've got to take those reasons away right off the bat. And you're not doing yourself any favor if you jump into a situation where you put a crap car out and the crap car is kind of like holding it lightly, barely kind of holding on, and you're like, oh, well, I've just charged him $6,000. He has to pay me $300 a month, and the car, let's just say, overheats next week. Anybody that's been in the car business can go ahead and answer this question. Is the guy ever going to make a payment? I'm going to go ahead and tell you no, because he's going to immediately see himself as a victim, and you as the bad car dealer that screwed them on a car. So, the first thing you must do on inventory is it must be sound and solid. Yeah, right. It is repo time. That's right. It will be. Hey, what's up, Big Cliffy? 750. Sean's here. Who's in the house? Dan's here. We got Sean, Big Cliff. We got a few other people joining in. Tonight we're getting into the correct way to do how I would do lot financing. I'm sure there's other ways to do it. But this is just kind of some of the simple tips that I would suggest that you follow if you want to be successful and stay in business. Now, what about the point of investment? How much are you willing to put on the street? When you buy the car. I don't like this part of it because this is why I kind of lean toward rentals, but right now I'm not going to lean toward that. I'm going to stay on lot financing. Okay, so lot financing is real simple. You're going to take that investment, whatever you got. Let's just say, just to keep numbers real simple, you put $1,000 car out, and $1,000 car is kind of marginal. You can get a lot nicer one for the $1,200 to $1,400 range for a lot financing, but you can squeeze in there for some $700 and $800. Get lucky. You got to shop smart, but for right now, we're going to say that you spent $1,000. Okay, well, when you tag that car and tax it, you got to pay the tax, the retail tax, the retail tag, and then and of course, then once that you take and put a buyer's order out there showing how much profit, you're paying tax on the entire profit. So if you sell this guy a car for $5,500, you're paying tax on $5,500. So that's all against your working capital. So let's just say that you're roughly out $500 in fees and tags and another $1,000. So you're down $1,500, and the guy's got, say, $300 or $500 down. Well, you can quickly see how you would get real backwards real quick if someone starts bailing on you, like right off the bat. So if you take $500 down, you haven't even recovered the money on buying your car yet. So you're gonna hope and pray that this guy makes his payments. If you've been fair, and you've got him at an affordable rate, he's a decent person, you got a good car. All these factors are playing in the, this endless cycle of this endless game of Jenga going on. So you get all these factors correct, you're still looking at no less than probably 6 weeks to 12 weeks, depending on how deep you are in the car, to see back your initial investment. And then if you get a repossession fee, then you're looking at even longer if you have to repossess it, because then you might have to file a replevelment order or just something to get your tag and title stuff back. And anyway, it's an endless mess. So saying, yeah, you could go repo it right off the bat. The guy misses his payment if you put him in a shit car. I get it. But the problem is you're still out all this money, man. You're still going to be out taxed. You're still going to be out tagged, and you're still going to be out repossession fees. So that's why I say take a word of caution. If a car doesn't shift right, if it doesn't drive right, and blah, 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 if you go through the little checklist and there's something off about that car, know that it's not going to make the long run for you. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to make it, you're not going to be able to make that car deal work. So it all comes down to the inventory and that golden egg. So that golden egg is your first thing. So I think that's enough about inventory, other than to say, just be cautious. Be extremely cautious, my brothers and sisters, because I've seen many a good guy that thought that he was smarter than the car, and the car wins every time, because if it's a POS, it's coming back. There is no magic formula like, oh, well, the guy blew a rod, so he's a good guy. He's just going to pay for it for the next 3 years. Not happening. The second that car stops paying, they already realize what situation they're in, or stops running, they're going to junk the car, and you're going to start the endless repo route, and it's a downhill slide. So one way to avoid this, like I said, it's not guaranteed 100%, but one way to avoid it is put yourself in a little nicer car, but put a little nicer car out there. It doesn't have to be nice, but instead of looking at 200,000 mile, $600 pieces of shit, you might want to move yourself up to 120,000 mile Pontiacs or something like that. I mean, I'm not saying that the food chain's much better, but you get a little lower miles, you're going to get some drive time out of these cars and be able to recover just a little bit of your cash flow, which is okay. All right, so back to the inventory, go a little deeper, and it'll go a lot longer. This is where spending a little money is worth it. You're not going to do any better putting. If you put three $500 pieces of crap out, you're going to be down 5 times as much cash flow, negative. You put one nice car out to one good customer, and you got a solid deal. You got something you can stand on, and you can rock and roll forward from there. All right. So that's how I feel about the inventory. Now, let's talk about customers for a second. So there's a couple different people that there's some people that you want to really avoid, and there's some people that you need to be kind of sketch with, and then some people are your perfect customer. Let me give you an example. If you've got a single mother who's been working at, let's just say, an hourly job for 2 years or whatever, she's got the hourly job. She doesn't have time for car stuff. She wants transportation that she can count on and get her kids back and forth, pay her bills. That's all she cares about. That's your perfect customer. You get a guy that he's been working the same job. He just needs to get back and forth. He's got a little bit of meat and potatoes behind him. A lady's got some meat and potatoes behind her. And you've got this perfect little mix of how you could build a successful business. See, these customers right here, they know what it's like to work hard for their money. So if you went a little deeper and you put them in a little nicer car than anybody, it doesn't have to be a lot nicer. It just needs to be detailed. I'm not quite so crazy on the miles. Something nice, just something with a little bit of flash for the cash. You know what I mean? Make them feel good and proud about their purchase. A little pride of ownership goes a long way. So you put them in this little decent car that no one else is going to give them a chance on. And you don't kill them. I mean, you put them in it, and you put them in a reasonable payment they can pay. And guys, you got a winner. This woman, this man, they will pay you. They will pay you consistently. Now, I went into this before. They have automatic shutdowns, and the key to lot financing isn't finding so much the good people. It's retraining them how to prioritize and pay, which is not a bad thing. Because you have a unique advantage, because you will be the lien holder on the car. You can put an automatic shutdown on the car that every Friday, whenever your payment's due, the computer, you can key it in, and it will, in fact, shut the car down. They will have to have the code to put it back in to restart it after they make their payment. No problem. Computer keeps up with everything. It's great for accounting. It takes a lot of responsibility off of you, because it's not like, hey, Mr. Car Dealer, I had a bad this. I had my rent's due. My power got shut off. I mean, those are all very very commendable stories, and they're definitely heartfelt, but you must survive. So no matter, all these stories are always going to be bad stories every month. So how you debate, or how you compensate for that, other than being a complete dick, is you put that automatic shutdown on. So we throw it off on the computer, the accounting. Hey, there's nothing I can do till it's paid. So here's what you're going to find out. If you put them in a decently budgeted car and you're a little bit nicer, they will train very quickly to pay you correctly and on time. And what they get to understand is, all right, well, dang it, I was going to pay rent, but rent can wait another week because I can push them around. I can push them backwards. The car people can't wait because of the stupid device. There's just nothing I can do about it. I got to pay it. And voila, guess what, guys? You have a perfect customer. And, when you're looking at those customers, you try to filter them out for flight risk as well. I mean, look for some longevity in the area. Find out where their family and friends live. Like if if everybody's kind of in that little niche of where you're at, I feel a lot better. If everyone's in California, they're here after some funky deal, they're a real big flight risk. So you use your gut, but not too much. Use your eyes more than your gut. If you see them as a flight risk, then they are in fact a flight risk. I promise you, they're going to haul ass on you. There's a high chance on it. Not always, but there's a real high chance on it. All right. So that's how I kind of see the customer, and that's how I see the cars. And the end game of this, so what it basically takes for you to become successful in the lot finance business is when you're looking at a cash flow rate. So you will have to be able to get a cash flow rate big enough to allow you to buy more cars, pay your bills, and be successfully to invest. You invest back into your own business. I.e., let me give you an example. So you've got 100 cars out right now, and 100 of the 100 are paying because they're all on the system. So if you had $300 a month, I'm just saying, if you had 300 a month coming in on 100 cars, was that 3,000 or 30,000 a month? You would be looking at 30,000 a month is excellent. That is an excellent cash flow. A lot of dealers would love to have that. I might have just overdid that, but 100 deals, you're there. You can retire from that. If you play it smart, in 5 years, you'll be a multimillionaire. Period. End of story. And how that works is you'll take that section of block of cars. Let's say your first month you can put out 10 or 15 or whatever. And then let's just say you did 10. So the following month you've got a $3,000 a month cash flow, and then you can put out 10 more. Then you'll be at a $6,000 a month cash flow. And then you get it. And then let's see, after 6 months, you'll be somewhere around 15-ish thousand month cash flow. When you get to that 10, 15,000 a month cash flow, you pretty much can always, you can almost buy your car. Like you've got enough cash flow coming in to reinvest in inventory to go back out. And so that's the cycle. And then from there, you just build your portfolio. So at the end of the day, you've got to have an end game. Are you going to lot finance until you're 100? No. So you'd say, okay, hey, listen, my plan is to cash flow up until, I want $1 million cash out of this deal. No problem. That happens every day in the car business. No big deal. And, I think I just lost connection. I think I'm back on. Okay, I'm back on. Okay, so you get a computer program to process all your payments out and keep all your contracts clean. You got to go through the steps of when you're doing it, get their proof of roof, proof of income. That would be like a utility bill, paycheck stubs, and then you keep a record of their paying. Okay, so let's just say 5 years from now, this is a 5-year plan. You want to cash out in 5 years. So what you do is you got everything you got all the way up to the last day you saw, the last day you're open, and you take all of those deals, and let's just assume, if you could put 10 out a month, that'd be 120. Some will be paid out by then. So let's say you could have, let's say roughly 400 car deals. And let's say the average of them is $5,000 a piece. And so you take that 400 times 4,000. Somebody do the math real quick. I can't do it in my head. Remember how to stroke. Anyway, so you take that and you start shopping it to banks. And one of the secondary companies will say, hey, listen, I'll pay you 65%. Some guy might offer you 70. Some guy might offer you 30, 40, 50, whatever percentage it is. So if you have $2 million accounts receivable, you'll get a percentage of that cash out right there. And that's kind of the plan on when you're dealing with lot financing. If that's if that's kind of your plan. Now, the thing about lot financing is once you get into that game, you're stuck in that game. I mean, you can do some cash deals occasionally, and you can. I mean, you could do some primary stuff too, but it is harder. Like like if you're going to be in the lot financing game, it's kind of like what you need to be into. I prefer rentals, but that's a whole nother video and a whole nother scenario. We've talked about this before too in the past. But I prefer it because of the return rate and dealing with customers and all that. Now, in the end game, if I was looking for a 5-year or 8-year plan, and guys, I'm telling you, if you want to get wealthy and you want to retire, this is an excellent way to do it. Now, is it easy? No, it's a big learning curve. You have to, you've got to really get to know your cars. You got to get to know people. You're going to have to deal with problems continuously daily. But in 5 to 8 years, you will retire a millionaire, if not a multimillionaire. Depends on how swift you are and how quick you are on your feet and how hard you're willing to work and all that good stuff and how good you treat your customers. Because let me tell you something. Once you get a loyal toe-to-no customer, you got him for life. I mean, he'll just keep buying cars from you. His family will. Everybody will do business with you because you're the one guy they don't got the dick with financing. Like, they'll be like, you know what? All I got to do is go down there and tell him that's the one I'm leaving with, and he's happy. And people love it. They love it when you know their name. They love it when, you can help them out and y'all can sit and talk and, all that personal human stuff just goes so far in something that's long term like this, because the relationship you're building with that guy from day one or that lady from day one carries on, and it will make the value of your paper worth a lot of money. All right, guys. In the UK, y'all take those pounds out there. Is that how that works? Y'all get that pound money. I like that in those pounds. I think those pounds are worth some cash flow. Do y'all do the lot financing in the UK? I'm pretty sure you do. You got to. No other way to survive. All right, guys. What else is going on out there? I love the lot financing stuff. Does anybody got any ideas? Did I miss something on here? I'm trying to think if I got the bullets straight. I would tell you this. Lot financing is a one-man pony show. You really can't afford. Maybe you could afford one guy just to help you out, but you're not going to be able to build a huge operation in any period of time. You're not going to be able to build like a huge selling operation because you're going to be limited by your cash flow. Have you bought salvage cars from Copart? Yes, we have. Very rarely. One of my buddies does it all. I say we. One of my really good friends, he buys. That's all he loves them. He loves them. He loves flooded cars that came. I have to hear the story like every week. He buys the salvage cars, flood up to a certain point in the knee bolster, and he buys like. Right now he's buying 2017, 2018s with no miles on them, flood for, 30 cents on the dollar, 40 cents on the dollar. And he brings them home and switches out the airbags or whatever. He's all about it. So, and I know that there's some car that are really like salvage pancake cars as well. So, I mean, I know it's a broad spectrum when you're talking about Copart. But Copart's a very viable cash flow business. And man, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not a body shop guy, but if I was a body shop guy, I would be extremely wealthy because those guys can take those cars and they got all the connections for the parts. They can buy them for nothing. They can fix them for labor and get ridiculous amounts of money for them. So, yes, it is definitely. I mean, I'm talking about a professional that can put out a safe product that's good to drive. But, yeah, definitely no problem with Copart, my brother. No problem at all. No problem at all. So what's going on, everybody? Big Cliff, how's it down on the Big Island? Everything good down there? Sean, everybody good? Dan, everybody good? Kentucky car sales. I'm going to assume he's from out of Kentucky. I like Kentucky. Rain today and for the rest of the week. Not rain. Oh, Oh. You know what, man? It turned in blistering hot here in Virginia, man. Today it turned up into, I think my car read like 98, 99 degrees. Ugh. Good man selling 20 buy here, pay here accounts, cashing in. Boom. I hear you. Um, so hey, Sean, did you just sell 20 buy here accounts? And if you did, what was your percentage of return? Did you get a pretty good one? Or, Nicholas says no snow yet. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you what, man, you can sell blocks of 10, 20. I mean, especially even if you get the buyer out there and they like your paper and you're doing it right, people love it. I mean, and buy here, pay here is really, I call it the retirement, because I call it the retirement part of the car business, and I'll tell you why I say that. The rest of them, if you get in the primary, or even if you deal in secondary paper and you're, continuously buying, hooking the paper, selling it, financing, or cash out, cash in, well, every month you have the same thing happen on every segment of the car business except this one and the rental, which is hero to zero. Doesn't matter how many cars you sell last month, what have you done for me lately? Now, in buy here, pay here, you got that cash flow going. So you don't start out as a zero. You just keep adding to your zeros, which is different than starting at nothing, because the average new car dealer, every month he has to start with 0 cars sold. Actually, most new car dealers, we actually lie and carry on the last month into the second, third day of the month. So, hey, Sean, there you go, 65%. Do the math, guys. If he had $1 million out there, he'd have just cashed in 650 grand. Good job, Sean. That's a pretty good return. He must do pretty clean paper. Here you go. It says 19 grand, pay some bills, and I can't read from my scroll right there. Pay off some flood cars. Buy some. Yeah. So Sean must be like in the. He must be in the throes of just getting shit done. Like he's down in there. He's taking black eyes and bloody noses and slinging cars and talking to the folks and just making deals happen. That's like that puts me to mind of what Sean's up to. What's up, Scott? Scott, where are you coming out of? I see Scott. Is it Ackerson? A-T-K-E or something? Ackerson. Yeah. Welcome, Scott. I don't remember seeing you on here before, but good to see you, my brother. Oh, I love, and you know what, guys? I'm telling you right now. What's up, Callie? Yeah, Callie in the house. Okay. So there's a certain part of me as a car guy that loves and will always love owning paper. Like, you just have to. It's in your blood. Like, I have a family friend the other day. This is just how it goes. This is how it goes. So a family friend the other day is, they have an issue with their car. But it's a piece of shit. Anyway, move on. And I can't help it. You know what I'm doing? I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about anything. Not only will I get you a car, I will finance you a car. And of course, you should have seen the arrow shooting out of Jen, because Jen knows I'm a car guy. And she already knows that I'm going to sell her friend a car and make $4,500 on it. I'm experimenting any way I can make money with the license, buy your outside finance, wholesale, quick flips, etc. Okay, I feel you, baby. He's moving up the ladder. That's right. That's how you do it. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it. I started that a long time ago, and you know what, man? The best advice I can give you is no matter what you're doing, buy low and sell high, my man. That's how you do it. But yeah, so this friend of ours needs a car. And I'm like, yeah, I'll finance you a car. I have 100 of them. I'll finance you a car. I don't care. And Jen, of course, is like, and she's smiling. And when they leave, she's like, you are going to sell them a car for what, like fair. And then you're going to let them pay cash and you're going to let them sell it in like a week or two. And I was like, damn it. Okay. So I had to do that. But anyway, long story short, it's in your blood, man. You can't get it out. When it's in your blood, I love it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with flipping that money and making that paper. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's why I love the rental stuff so much. Even though I got out of it a couple years ago. Although I'm thinking about getting back in with the Toro thing, I'm actually looking at some cars right now that I'm thinking might actually work, but I'll update y'all on that later. Um, but yeah, that's what I like about the rental thing when I was doing it. I just love the fact that I owned 100 cars. I just loved it. And they all had to pay me. I felt like Scrooge McDuck swimming around in like coins. I mean, I was like, I could not be happier. I was like, everybody that I know has to pay me, which I thought was excellent. I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. And and like when a car comes back and someone's done, it's like I have a relationship with the Subaru, not the guy that's driving it. I'm like, man, I've missed you, bro. How you been? Give him a clean up, and I'll be the one washing it, shining it, and be like, oh yeah, we can go out and make some more money. So yeah, Sean, I feel you, man, and you doing it right, brother. You are doing it right. You just take that money and you just keep flipping it and cashing it and flipping it and cashing it. That's what you do. That's what you do. Any day of the week. Okay, let's see. Anyway, I can wholesale quick flips on cheap cars trying to move up the ladder. Okay, just got you on that one, Sean. By the way, are you related to a girl named Rebecca? That was my first girlfriend way back in the day. I just thought we should mention that. Maybe you're not her brother or something. And then, well, were you going to record a video about ways to get started small, then build and go big? You know what? So, Scott, if you get a chance to check out my channel, we get into this every week at Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. We kind of get into different stuff for car dealers. But on my channel, you'll find playlists that go into all kinds of crazy stuff in every aspect of the car business. Sean's like, we're no relationship. Good. She was a bitch anyway. Nah, that's mean. She was all right. She was just crazy. Big surprise there. So Scott, yeah, we get into stuff like from locations, primary financing, secondary financing, how to buy cars. I have a whole series on what I look at when I'm buying cars. I teach you how to, if you're buying from private individuals. I need to do an auction series on how I do the auction as well. I've kind of skipped out. All right. What would be your strategy if you went into used car business as someone who is in her late 60s? Okay, treasure hunter, let me tell you what I would do if you were going in the car business from the heart. You buy really nice cars, you try to get the best deal you can get on them, and you sell those because you're never going to lose. You buy a nice car, there will always be an ask for that seat, and you will always make a profit. Stay away from edgy stuff. Stay away from mileage. You want the 60, 70,000 mile cars or below, maybe 80, 90 if you had to. And you want to buy them as close to rough book as humanly possible, but you want them to be pretty, so you'll have to be fishing slow and methodical to get the good deals. And that's how I would do it if I was in my 60s, because you don't have the time for the crap, and the other stuff will wear you out in your 60s. You don't need to be bending over cars fixing this and fixing that. And like Sean doesn't matter what happens to Sean. He's young. He can crawl under the car and fix it and fix the wheel bearing and fix the window. He's young. He can handle it. You in your 60s cannot. So you need to get primary cars that you don't get caught up with all the crap in. And plus, Sean doesn't mind fighting with everybody that screaming at him on Fridays about not paying their payments. Okay. With Toro, do you prevent him? Yes. So with Toro, preventive advice is definitely all right. So Toro is just like your own car. So yeah, you got complete control over it. You can it only goes out for like 3 or 4 days at a time, maybe a week. And it comes back, and you can kind of really keep it up to par because you're keeping that car clean. You're keeping all the fluids checked. You can keep all the maintenance. So, yeah, it's completely preventive maintenance, Cliff. Definitely. Scott, I'll keep looking. Appreciate the content and advice. Yeah, definitely. Hey, Scott, join us every Tuesday at 8. And as you have questions come up, man, just hit me up live, or you can hit me on anybody got Snapchat? Find me on Snapchat. James, I'll find it next week or wherever, how I'm on Snapchat. I just got that. I love Snapchat. I'll keep looking. I appreciate the content and advice. I'm going to get out of here and social soon. Okay, gotcha. What's up? What's up, Francisco? Yeah. So, wait. Missed one. Sean said, I'm just buying things I wanted to drive. I got a Jeep Commander and a Volvo C30 and a Lincoln Navigator. Don't feel bad, man. Don't feel. You know what, Sean? I remember my first new car dealer gig, and it was so cool. My first demo was a Plymouth Laser. Does anybody remember a Plymouth Laser? Like, Then I rear-ended someone. Let's don't talk about that. And I drove off, being a dumbass kid, and the hood flies up and does $6,000 worth of damage on my brand new RS Plymouth Laser Turbo. So then they put me in a Suzuki Samurai with no AC till I could learn how to appreciate a nice Plymouth Laser. So yeah, I definitely feel you on that one, Sean. Our kids sure do. What's up? Okay, been a minute. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, thank you. I'm interested in selling used car parts. Hey, you know what, man? That is a great man. I don't really get into that very much, but how hard is it to get into prime lenders? Okay, Sean. So here's what you do, bro. There's two questions on the table that are really good. Chrysler Laser, I recall. Yes, Plymouth. Chrysler Plymouth, yes. How hard is it to get in with the prime lenders? Okay, that is a good question and interesting in buying. I love used parts, Treasure Hunter. Yes, hell yes. Used parts are where it's at. Okay, the biggest money maker out there, forget lot financing. If you could get a salvage yard going, that is the biggest money in the car business. There is no more money made and then there is in late model salvage. Period. End story. And especially if you're computer savvy and you can get into the eBay stuff and get into the markets, y'all write this one down. Usecarparts.com. All you got to do is be on that website and you can sell anything in the world. You can do it. Windy City's on the house. How hard is it going to prime lenders? Okay, so let me tell you how I do this. All right, now coming from franchise is real easy for us to have prime lenders because we basically, they all you know what they do. They kiss up. They want our paper because we're giving it to Ford, Chrysler, whoever. But for prime lenders, for an independent, you got to be sneakier than that. You got to come in the back door, bro. So here's what you do. One day when you ain't got a whole lot to do, pull into a couple credit unions you got around town. Say, hey, I want to talk to whoever. And they'll be like, hey, all right. And then talk to the the loan manager and say, hey, what is y'all's requirements for a used car? Okay. And then they'll say like, all right, they'll be like, okay, we have a 8-year cutoff and a maximum of 75,000 miles. No problem. So when you do your advertising, put a disclosure on the sign. Say, hey, we have cars that will meet so-and-so credit union, AmSouth Bank, Barnett Bank, such and such credit union. We will meet the guidelines of these banks. And when you do that, you're going to start picking up prime customers. That's the back door in. Because as long as you have the cars that they can meet, and I'll tell you the best one, guys, if you have a Navy Fed anywhere near you, I mean anywhere near you, you are missing no less than $25,000 a month. Because Navy Fed will give any kid in the military $6 to $8 grand, period, and have very little restrictions on the cars. So if you want to look at a great way to get into the car business clean, especially saying he was in his 60s wanting to get in the car business, if you've got a Navy Fed near you or some type of military installation that's going to have Navy Fed available, then, and I think USAA is pretty relaxed too. But let's go with Navy Fed for a second. You can advertise for the Navy Fed customers and you will get 5 to 10 of them a month and you will make yourself a great living. Great living. You don't have to rip them off. That you make $1,000, $2,000 a car. They're happy. Put them in something nice. You don't have to mess with junk. You can put a decent car in. You can deal with stuff with a little higher mileage because Navy Fed's nice like that. They don't care. So Prime, I would definitely. Navy Fed is my favorite, but there's other credit unions that are just as good. So what you got to do there, my man, is you got to build you like a little notebook and kind of ride around and just start, knocking doors. Hey. What you got, baby? What's your loan requirements? And once you figure that out, just go ahead and get your name out there and say, hey, is it okay if I send you some clients? And they're going to be like, yes. Build those relationships. And then when the guy comes in, you'll be like, hey, yeah, I deal with Mark over at whatever credit union. And I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm sending you to Mark. Now you have a relationship. Secondary, call your American Generals and your secondary finance companies around. And go ahead. Okay, see, Capital One's a little nuts. Definitely Capital One's a little nuts. Capital One, screw Capital One. They're great for cash flow, but you're right. They're so far out there. Good year mileage. I know a kid that just bought a 2000. Let's see, what was it? 2010 Hyundai Elantra, I believe it was. 160,000 miles. They gave her a check for $6,500. Not me. I happen to know the kid that bought it, and definitely, it doesn't seem to matter. Like, they're, as long as book value's there, they don't really care. I mean, they'll just go with whatever the book says. Navy Fed, Navy Fed. Now, other banks have restrictions, so definitely check them. Yeah, Capital One sucks, but there's so many other local banks. You just got to knock the doors down because it won't be evident until you sit out there and start digging. That's what I do. I just dig till I find something worth getting. All right, guys. All right. Okay, so it looks like we're wrapping it up. Okay. I'm trying to stay under my restriction, my time restriction that I have here because of Jen. And I was trying to keep it around 8:20, 8:25. We're at 8:25. Any questions for next week? Anybody got any? We just got collect. Hey, that's a good one. Mid-Atlantic is a good one. A lot of those companies out there, when I was coming up into our big companies were like Mercury Finance. Y'all probably don't remember them. They went bankrupt. But back then, they used to charge you like 28% in. This is the franchise. They charge you like 28% interest, a $500 discount, and then they would only advance like some crazy number over like they would only give you like loan value plus 2%, something like stupid like that. But since then, competition has gotten really steep on secondary finance. So I don't know if there's another company out there called Lydia Claddock. Sean, check that one out. They're out of St. Augustine. I don't know if they're still in business, but they were growing quite big, and they had a pretty lucrative program back in the day. I don't know if they still do or not. Lydia Claddock. Lydia, Lydia Claddock, St. Augustine, Florida. Check them out, guys. I think that if they're still around, she may have been bought out by now, but they were buying the shit out some paper, and it wasn't no big deal. Credit acceptance. CAC sucks. You can make money with CAC, but there's a lot of red tape. Be careful on that one, my bro. Be careful on that. But if you're a hustler and you're on top of your game, you can make CAC work. So it's not always a bad thing. And you do get to put customers in CAC that would normally never, ever, ever on the planet Earth be able to get a car loan anywhere. So you got that going for you. If you got somebody with a down payment, you can definitely do a credit acceptance corporation. And once you get CAC, they got some programs where they want you to become exclusive dealers. You can really make some money, but you won't make the money like you're doing right now. You won't be getting a 65% cut like you're doing. Like, it'll be really low by the time they get done dicking with you. But I mean, play it out. See what you got. I always say, if you can make money at it, then God bless it. Go for it. That's what I say. That's the CarMan's attitude. Allied Finance, yeah, they're still around. They've been around a long time. But yeah, if you guys need anything, let me know. And if you come up with any cool subjects that you want to hit on next week, I definitely will. And if I've left anything out of a lot of financing thing, feel free to put it on the comments or whatever. I was trying to hit an basic umbrella of what I thought would be imperative as far as if you were actually trying to jump in this game and you wanted to do it. And then if you could do it, then what it would take to actually make a successful run. I've seen some guys out there get on here, and the guys are hacks, man. I mean, if you jump into, if you buy cars that have slip-in transmissions, and that's okay, and, you know, busted this and busted that, and that's okay, and no, you don't. If you get into a car that's a piece of shit, it's a piece of shit, and that's just how it is. And you need to keep that in your mind, and that's how you need to focus. And you only put out good quality vehicles because you must sustain a good reputation, and you've got to sustain a good product to be successful in the car business. If you put out crap, you're going to get crap customers, and you're not going to have nothing at the end of the day except a bunch of pissed off people that with cars that don't run and a big tax bill you can't pay. Heard it first from the CarMan, baby. Shout my Amazon. I got an icon sitting on my main page. Go blow it up, baby. Buy everything. Especially you, Sean. You go buy some stuff. You need some stuff, bro. Oh, by the way, guess what I got? I went ahead and got the Milwaukee fuel set. I got the Milwaukee Impact. That mother does 1,400 pounds of braking force. 1,400 braking pounds. That is the meanest impact driver I've ever had in my life, and it is a cordless. So, of course, I went ahead and bought the ratchet, the impact hex, and screw gun, hammer drill. And anyway, let's don't talk about my spending habits. But I'm going to do a whatchamacallit on there and see if you guys like them. I'll try to shoot one of those pretty good. Cordless impact, yes. And it is a half-inch drive. Big Cliffy, it's a half-inch drive, 1,400 pounds of torque. Milwaukee. Go Milwaukee. For buy here, we must get what you have in the vehicle plus tax tagging down as a minimum. Yes, the more you can get down, that's one thing we didn't talk about. Down payment is everything in that business. You must have the cash flow down. It helps. I mean, you can't always get it, but go for as much as you can. And you can do whole checks for a couple days out or whatever. All right, meanwhile, peace out. Jen is home. I got to roll. Gotta roll. All right, later, baby. See you on the flip.
It was Ashton who was home. You thought it was Mom who was home.